so that we can post it to our junior sailing YouTube channel. And those who couldn't make it tonight are able to come back and hear the content. So we have Kirk Brown with us tonight. He's a certified international umpire, and he's our match racing specialist here at the club. And he's also got a big hand in the 2028 Olympic Games that are coming to Long Beach just 8 years down the road. And as you saw in the email, we've got a pretty exciting opportunity here for our juniors who are only 12, 13, 14 years old now, but in 8 years, they'll be 20, 21, 22, and perfect age to assist on race committee. So I'm going to turn the mic over to Kirk Brown, and he's going to take it from here.
Thank you, Cameron, and thank you, everybody, for being here this evening. We've got some really unique opportunities here in Long Beach and at the Long Beach Yacht Club for you and to involve you as juniors. By way of introduction, I've been sailing most all my life, and here is the first trophy I won. And you can talk to your grandparents and ask them about Richard Nixon. He was vice president when I won that trophy with my brother. We were sailing together in a Lido 14 and took third place. And it was pretty exciting around our house that night. My dad sailed in the Star Worlds, and my grandfather sailed in the Star Worlds, so we're a sailing family. I've had just an incredible career as a race official, and we're going to get into that a little bit as we go on. I'm going to share my screen with you right now. And we're going to talk about the 2028 Olympic Games. We're going to talk about match racing and how you can plug in to the match race program. So Cameron, I'm going to go ahead and start by sharing my screen here. And here we go. So this is not Long Beach. This is actually Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And you can see the Christ statue up on the mountain there. And this is the 2016 Rio Olympics. So our job in 2028 is to run a perfect regatta for the Olympic Games. And that's going to be a challenge. For you, this is going to be the experience of a lifetime to be involved in the Olympic Games. Very rarely do you even get that opportunity. I was lucky that I was involved in the 32nd America's Cup in Valencia, Spain. I spent 300 days on the water over 3 years umpiring America's Cup boats, and you're going to see those in a little bit. I've also been a judge or an umpire for every Olympic trials the U.S. has had since '84 and world championships all over the world. So I've had an incredible career, and this can be the start of your career here, both in terms of a racer, but also in charge of being a race official. So this is a plan for running a major event. And a major event would be something like Long Beach Race Week or the 29er World Championships. So you can see there all of the jobs and tasks that we're going to have to find people for to be able to take care of these things. And there are going to be right now 330 athletes coming to the 2028 Olympic Games. There will probably be 150 coaches. There will be 100 race officials. So we're going to have 500 or 600 people actually competing or coaching in the Olympic Games. And we are probably going to need 300 volunteers to put on the games. Now, just to give you an idea of where this sits in the way of complexity, think of it like a Richter scale, like an earthquake. Every event is 10 times more complicated than the next one. So a major event, Long Beach Race Week, 150 boats, probably 500 sailors. The next level of complexity to be a Congressional Cup, and you're all familiar with that. We have 300 volunteers. It is a huge event, 10 times more challenging than that will be the Hempel World Series in Miami, which will turn into the Long Beach OCR in 2021. 10 times more complicated that is the America's Cup in Valencia, Spain. And 10 times more complicated that will be the Olympic Games. And you'll see how that's going to play in a little bit here. So here's kind of the reporting chain, and we live right here in the Long Beach OCR. We report to LA 28. That's the authority that is going to put on the 28 Olympic Games, and they report to the International Olympic Committee. U.S. Sailing is over here, and their job is to train athletes to win medals. And they report to the U.S. Olympic Committee. Their job is to win medals. And then World Sailing also ties into the IOC. So on the water in Paris in 2024, there's going to be 4 circles, and those 4 circles could be running concurrently, all at the same time. There'll be a principal race officer and then a course representative for each one of the 4 circles. So if we look at just one circle, this would be the A circle. We'll have the principal race officer. That's the person in charge of running the race. Then there'll be a World Sailing course representative to make sure that the races are being run according to the rules and regulation. Then there will be an international race officer on the race committee boat. They'll be in charge of running the races. And then another international race officer, their job is going to be to make sure the marks are in the right place. Then down here on the bottom, that's us. We're going to have a local race official on board the race committee boat, somebody like Randy Smith, who's raced in Long Beach all of his life, knows the wind and current, and be able to provide input to the international race officer. Then we'll have our local race committee team, and you'll see them in a minute. You're going to have 3 mark set boats and the pin set boat. And this is where we're going to plug into the game. So on the race committee boat, you've got the international race officer from World Sailing. You'll have the course race officer. That's going to be a John Bush, Randy Bush, or John Bush, Randy Smith type. Then you'll have a deputy race officer, and that's in case somebody falls off the boat or gets sick or something. Then you have somebody pulling up the flags and somebody with the sound signals, timer, recorder, and radio communications. These are the other groups that are going to be telling us what to do. The Los Angeles Police Department and the Secret Service. The security is going to be very tight. WADA is the World Anti-Doping Authority, and they'll be dope testing the athletes, the U.S. Coast Guard, the fire department, the Port of Long Beach, and the EPA. So all of these people are going to be driving our action to a certain extent, and we'll need to be working with all of them. So it's going to be pretty involved. So what's required of you? Well, you got to check your ego at the door. There's going to be enough ego running around this regatta for everybody. So just have to be aware that your number one goal is to get in the game. Then you got to play well with others. There's going to be a lot of stress involved. The third item is really, really important, and this is where you're going to fit in. You got to be physically fit. You've got to be mentally fit. The mental fitness, there's going to be an awful lot of pressure. We have to put on a perfect regatta. We can't have any requests for redress because of a foul up by the race committee. Just can't have that. It'll cost somebody a medal. And then you've got to be physically fit. Now, you guys, in your teens right now are in the right place. People like me, I'm not going to make it to the games. I'm going to be too old. I'm going to be too old. I'll be too sore. I won't be able to get in and out of the boat. I won't make it to the games. So I'm going to have to train you guys to get to go. The time commitment is between 1 and 4 weeks for 7 years. There will be major events leading up to the Olympic Games, and then 6 weeks in 2028, 3 weeks for the games and 3 weeks for the pre-event. And then you got to be competent at what you do, and we'll have to get you certified, and we can do all of that for you. So that's kind of the Olympic Games. I want to pause right now and listen for any questions that you have on the Olympic end before we get to the match racing part. So questions, now's a good time to ask.
I got a quick question, Kirk.
Go ahead, Cameron.
What walk me through kind of the entry level steps for these junior sailors to get involved in something like this, and like the day to day, like what are they going to actually be doing to prepare?
Well, to prepare, we want to start by putting you out on the race committee boat, so you can see how races are run and some of the things that are some of the levels of complexity involved in that. And this is more serious than the Wet Wednesday type racing. This would be something like Long Beach Race Week, or some of the match races that we run, a little higher level events. So you can see some of the dynamics that are involved in running and managing a race. Ultimately, I think that our junior sailors are going to be on mark set boats, and they'll be pulling marks. And the key is to have sailors on mark set boats, because if you're up at the windward mark and you can see the wind starting to shift to the right, you know that you're going to have to shift the weather mark to the right. And sailors will know that best, and can start to see that. So we'll be able to plug that in. So we'll provide mark set training and race committee training, so you can get the big overall picture of how it all works. And then depending on your interest level, we'll go ahead and start plugging you in.
I also have a question, Mr. Brown. Thank you so much.
Tony.
Thank you so much for A, tonight, but B, willing to train these kids for 2028. That's incredible.
It is going to be cool.
You know, I think in Cameron's note this afternoon, he mentioned that part of the curriculum will be to get these kids to a point where they can become judges as soon as they turn 18. I presume that there is, the last bullet on this page suggests, there's several certifications we've got to get through. Can they get through those certifications ahead of turning 18?
Yes. They can check off all of the boxes necessary and then just wait till they turn 18 and check that box off when they turn 18. So we can work with them to achieve, depending on which route they'd like to go. And I'm thinking race committee is where they want to work. We can check off all of the boxes, or most all of the boxes. And then when they turn 18, it'll be merely submit your application. And we'll provide all of those experiences to check the boxes off. We have race committee certifiers here in Alamitas Bay, so you don't need to go any farther than Long Beach to get certified.
Very good. I have another question, if I may.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I know the answer to this, but I want to ask it because I think it'd be for the benefit of everyone on the call to hear. I'm sure a few, more than just a few of the kids on this call are hoping to maybe even be active competitors at the 2028 Olympics. Could you speak about the benefits of going through this training, even if they turn out to actually be a competitor and not on the water in a judge capacity or umpire capacity?
Well, we very frankly would prefer that they are competitors in the 2028 Olympic Games. There would be nothing that would please the club more than to have Olympians coming out of this program. What you get when you are on the race committee boat and learn the race committee routine is you get a view of how a race is managed. And you're able then to look at the race course and see if it's set up properly. As we work at higher and higher level events, the race courses are generally, but not always, generally set up properly. At lower level events, they're not. And either, for whatever reason. When sailors can recognize a small error on the part of the race committee in terms of setting the line, the squareness of the line, factoring in the current, where they may be setting the weather mark, because they've worked on the race committee end, that allows them as sailors then to say, aha, I can take advantage of this situation and end up with a better start, end up going to the right side of the course, end up having some type of an advantage. So as an example, if you're sailing on the first upwind leg of the course, and you're able to notice that the mark set boat is moved 10 degrees to the right, you can expect that there might be a right shift coming, which would allow you to play the downwind leg towards that right shift, and then move the upwind leg towards that right shift, anticipating there's going to be a course change at the leeward mark. So it just allows you to anticipate better by being able to look and see what the race committee is up to. It also gives you a better view of what the rules are in the part 3 part of the rule book, which I'm betting no one has read other than how to start. But there are some important things in part 3 on how a race is managed. So in the event the race committee does make a mistake, you have a way to have it not hurt you as bad. Does that kind of answer your question, Tony?
Absolutely. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
All right. Other questions?
Is it going to take us like this long to prepare, or are we just starting early?
What we run out of is time. And for us to get somebody new prepared up to the point where they can play at the Olympic Games will take probably 7 years. The chain of events that will happen is we'll have the Olympic classes regatta in 2021, 22, and 23, with the Olympic Games in Paris in 2024. Then in 2025, the World Sailing will start to run what they call test events, which are practice Olympic Games beginning in 2025. And that's when we'll have our serious team out on the water. So we want to have everybody trained up and prepared prior to 2025 so that when 2025 comes around, we can go ahead and work into that situation. Yes, I know people will be under 18 coming up into 2025, and we'll work that out. Does that answer your question?
Yes, I was just like, I've never really been involved in like Olympics or anything, so it's surprising that all this like effort goes into it.
The effort is substantial, and we've had a year of committee meetings already preparing for this event. It's going to take 7 years and hundreds of people in order to run the Olympic Games. It is a daunting task. Other questions dealing with the Olympics? All right, moving along. As you know, match racing is a Long Beach Yacht Club tradition. We run the Congressional Cup. Long Beach Yacht Club, if we were our own nation, if our own nation, would be the 7th most active nation in the world in terms of running high-level match race events. So that really is the culture of Long Beach Yacht Club. And we have a goal to send a team to the Governor's Cup. And Cameron is going to be working on that. We've got some incredible coaches that are going to be able to help out. So let's take a quick look about what match racing is all about. We'll spend a couple of minutes and look at a couple of videos. And the videos will also tie into what Mr. Mansour's question was, is how is this going to help you be a better sailor? So a match race is very simple. It's only 2 boats, and you just have to beat the other guy. And it's a game that's all about control. You want to control your opponent using the rules, and you want to control your opponent using your really excellent sailing skills. So this is how a match race sets up just before the boats enter what we call the box, which is right here. So you have the yellow boat coming in on starboard and the blue boat coming in on port. And what blue wants to do is to get over into here. And what yellow wants to do is to keep blue over in this part of the game. If blue can escape, like a chess game, they then have a neutral way to start the game. If yellow can keep blue pinned over here, yellow will win the start and likely the match. So let's take a look at what this is all about here. And Cameron, I'm having a problem finding my videos here.
No problem. We'll stand by.
Okay, bear with me for just a second here.
I'm sure everybody on the call here has had a chance to watch some Congressional Cup races. Pretty exciting stuff, especially if you're there in person. Anyone get to watch it last year in 2019? You can always go back online too and check out old footage from that regatta. In 2019, they had drone footage and, you know, official broadcast on TV. Pretty cool stuff. They don't do that for very many sailing events. What about Governor's Cup? Have you guys ever heard of Governor's Cup? Yes or no?
All right, here we go.
There we go.
All right, here comes the yellow boat entering the box. There's the race committee boat. Here's the blue boat coming in, and let's see how this transpires. Here's the umpire boat. And remember, blue wants to get over into here. Yellow wants to hold them out. Remember, these are 86-foot boats right now. Think about who's the boat that needs to keep clear. They're on port, they're on starboard. Now we want to ask the question, who's the right-of-way boat? This boat is still on port because they haven't tacked. So here's the keep clear boat, the red one. Right-of-way boat's in blue. And the blue boat is, or the boat with the blue sail is keeping the boat with the red sail from going to the right. That's what the red boat wants to do, is go right. What you can see is the blue boat is slowly advancing. Slowly advancing. See how the boat with the blue sail is advanced here. Now here comes the red boat. The red boat is going to come to the right here. And here they go. Now the rules start to play again. We have clear ahead and clear astern, right? Still clear ahead and clear astern. So you want to think, okay, what's going to happen next? Here comes the umpire boat back into the gap, looking down this gap. And this boat, the boat with the blue sails under pressure, it's the bowman up here looking for the overlap. Boats are overlap, and now we have a windward-leeward situation. The boat with the blue sail is turning up, right? Windward boat keeps clear, and they're coming around to tack, and the boat with the red sail is going to tack inside of them and try and push them up over the starting line. So you want to use the rules here to figure out where you're going to be on the race course. Now let's take a look at one more. We often ask, how close can you tack? And this is going to be a good okay, we're on a beat to weather. This boat's on starboard, this boat's on port, and here we go. Remember, these are 86-foot boats.
Look how many people it takes to sail one of those things well.
So here again, we've set up a starboard port situation with the boat with the red sail on starboard. But the boat with the red sail wants to keep pushing the boat with the white sail to the left side of the course. Now, what's interesting here is the announcer doesn't know the rule, and that's not unusual. Now here you've got Chris Dixon, that's Scotty's brother, and then Gavin Brady, both Congressional Cup winners. So here we come again. So you want to think about how close can you tack before it's too close. And again, the red boat wants to push the white boat off to the left side of the course. So you can see here, there's quite a bit of distance between the boats. The red boat has gained a little bit there. But the question is, who makes the better tack in this situation? In Mascalzone, the red boat didn't have a good tack. Okay, how close is too close? So you're going to get a replay here from the helicopter so you can have a much better view of how close this really was.
Does anyone know what the rule is on tacking too close? What constitutes a tack that's too
Here's
close?
the helicopter video. That's wrong.
Sophia Corzine has her hand up. I think she knows the answer to your question, Cameron.
So go ahead. What's the question?
I think tacking too close is where you don't have enough room to complete your tack before you hit the other boat.
And when do you complete your tack?
Once your sail fills on the other side and you are moving forward.
Okay, you need to go to your definitions in your rule book, and you complete your tack when you're on a close hauled course. Okay, so it has nothing to do with the sail filling. It has everything to do with, are you on a close hauled course? And that's what the umpires are going to be looking for. So what we're going to be doing for you is we are going to we're going to provide some umpire boat ride-alongs for you, where you can get on an umpire boat and see exactly that video. Not only that, you're going to be able to talk to the umpires about the rules in real time as the race is happening. And the first event is the California Dreamin' Series event, April 17th and 18th. That's a Saturday, Sunday, here in Long Beach in the 37s outside. Then there will be some spots on the Ficker Cup Thursday and Friday, and then Congressional Cup Wednesday and Thursday. We'll also provide you with some race committee boat experience, Long Beach Race Week, and then Cameron will be coaching the Solings. So we'll be providing you, when you get on an umpire boat, you'll be riding with an international umpire or an international judge. And these people are rules experts. One of the reasons my wife doesn't like to go to regattas with me is when we sit down with the umpires and go to dinner, we all talk about rules. And she finds that very boring and is not interested, so she doesn't go. But umpires will talk about rules at breakfast, at lunch, at dinner, after dinner, all night long if you let them. And you'll have the opportunity to not only ride along, but you can ask the umpires questions. Say, well, wait a minute. What would you do tactically here? How would you trim your sails? One of the umpires for Congressional Cup is the coach for the Irish Olympic team. And he'd be happy to talk to you about all things, how to make boats go fast. So we will provide you with the opportunity to be on umpire boats for these 3 regattas and then more during the course of the summer. So your next step is just to reach out to me or to Cameron saying, hey, I'd like to be involved in this. I'm interested. And then one of the slides you saw there was the match race playbook. That's from North U. It's Dave Perry's book. And that's a good resource on how the match race game is played and the rules and tactics that are involved. Match racing is a very subtle game. But you use the rules and tactics to pummel your opponent. And as we say, if you're not giving your opponent pain, the question is why not? You always want to be hurting your opponent when you can. So that's my presentation. Now, what kind of questions do you have?
One thing I'd like to add, for those of you that are interested, and I think all of you are, which is why you're here, it would be in your best interest to start looking into this stuff now. Start looking into the subtleties of match racing by online research, reading the rule book, watching videos. The same goes for the race committee stuff we talked about earlier for the Olympic Games. There are resources for that. Kirk Brown referenced part 3 of the rule book. So do your due diligence ahead of time before you even show up. That way you're prepared to ask the right questions. you know, there's a difference between asking open-ended questions that are vague and general versus pointed questions that are specific and, you know, pertain to specific rules, stuff like that. And that's where you're going to get the most out of this.
And where this is going to help you on the race course sailing your Sabbat is when you can see the game from the umpire boat, you'll have a better view of seeing the game from your Sabbat or from the FJ. And you'll know when you have an opportunity to take advantage of a situation and when you ought to really back off because you're getting yourself into trouble. You don't want to be looking at a situation going, ooh, this is not going to end well if I do this. And getting out on the umpire boat will help you start to look farther down the race course and see the game setting up in front of you. And Cameron, I'll provide you with some video links for some match races that people can take a look at. I've got a whole library of film that I'd be happy to share either in a Zoom call and we can tailor a specific training program using some of our really good Long Beach Yacht Club match racers. Scotty Dixon said he'd be involved. Randy Smith would be involved. Dave Hood in training you guys up so that when you decide you'd like to go match racing, you've got some really good training and world-class coaching right here in Long Beach.
Awesome. Thank you, Kirk. That sounds like a plan.
Good. That's all I've got, Cameron, unless there are any questions from any one of the dozen folks out here tonight. Does this make sense? Let's look like fun. I guarantee you're going to be better sailors out of this, and you'll know the rules an awful lot better.
And that's a huge advantage because on the race course, you know, the guy next to you on port, the guy next to you on starboard, chances are, you know, they're only surface level. All right. Well, if there's no questions, that concludes the presentation. Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. Again, the recording from tonight's presentation will be posted on the LBYC Junior Sailing YouTube channel either later tonight or tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that if you'd like to watch this again or share it with your friends. Big thank you to Kirk for putting this together and creating this opportunity for us. Like he mentioned earlier, there's not a lot of opportunities like this out there. And the fact that we have such a major event coming to our hometown, which seems like a ways away, but it's really not. It'll be here before we know it. And so now's the time to really start taking a close look at this and getting serious. So
yeah, and this is really the opportunity for you to reach out because we are happy to help. I see Mark Townsend has joined us here. He's an international race officer, international judge, international umpire out of Alameda's Bay Yacht Club, and is going to be central in the 2028 Olympic Games. Say hi, Mark.
Nick, how you doing?
Doing fine. Anything to add?
No, somebody had asked, so does it take this long? You know, so the Special Olympics are in Berlin in 3 years, and the planning on that one has already started. So planning on these events takes multiple years just to plan them. And then if you want to get up to speed and be at the level in order to run on some events, it takes some time. It helps improve your sailing, though. I think one works with the other. So ask if you don't understand a rule, and somebody will be happy to explain it. And then understanding how tactically you apply that rule.
Yeah, you've got a whole bunch of international race officers here right in Alameda's Bay. And, reach out to us. We're a great resource and are happy to talk to you about rules for as long as you're willing to stay awake.
awesome.
Thank you, Cameron.
Thank you, Kirk. And thanks again to everyone for being here tonight. And we'll talk soon. We got lots more to come.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you all. Night, night.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank
See you later.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kirk. Thank you, Cameron. Have a good night, guys.
Adios.